India and China criticize each other on recent clashes.
Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst team. I'm Martin Satyanesan, starting off with a look at your lead story for this afternoon. Jeevan Thundaman has been appointed as the new General Secretary of the Ceylon Workers' Congress. The treasurer of the Ceylon Workers' Congress, Marudapandi Rameshwaran, said the decision was made when the executive committee of the Ceylon Workers' Congress convened in Kottagala today. Anushya Sivaraja, who served as the General Secretary of the CWC, was appointed as the Deputy Leader of the CWC. However, the position of leader, which was vacated following the demise of former Minister Arumugan Thondaman, still remains vacant. A meeting between the officials of the Elections Commission and representatives of political parties is at Election Secretariat Office in Rajagiriya. Meanwhile, ballot papers pertaining to the electoral register of Mathura district were brought to the district secretariat yesterday. An officer to accept complaints regarding elections in the Mathura district has been established within the district secretariat premises. A meeting was held between the general election candidates of the Kandy district and the district secretary this morning. Moving along, following are the views expressed in the political arena leading up to the general elections on the 5th of August.
2020.
The grassroots level people of the United National Party are fed up. Against such a backdrop, we have the opportunity to go for a two-third majority. A high-quality parliament is required for this country. We don't need a parliament for the MPs to fight. We don't need MPs who travel in prison buses.
An opportunity was never taken to do what was promised. We won't let a group that we did not want in power to come again. This country is made of quality people who respect the democracy. We are here to fight for their rights.
We need a strong opposition to develop the country. Obtaining a two-third majority is a different topic. There is a requirement for an opposition. There is no challenge in terms of politics. Based on my knowledge, they will not be able to return to normalcy within the next 10 years.
What is happening now to UNP is paying for what they did during the last 4.5 years. The destruction they caused to the economy and the national resources and the false promises they made to the people are haunting them.
2020.
More news from the political sphere. The leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegya, Sajith Premadasa, attended several rallies yesterday. A public gathering to ensure the victory of the Samagi Jana Balawegya was held yesterday at the Samagi Jana Balawegya election office in Negombo. A group of candidates, including the Samagi Jana Balawegya electorate organizer of Negombo, Dr. Kavinda Jawardana, participated in this event.
Out of the 225 members of parliament, it was me who first warned about the coronavirus on the 24th of January and on the 5th of February. What happened to the leadership that see the future? Who is that? They did not even see it coming. They did not speak one word. However, when we pointed it out, they mocked us. They laughed. They were in a hurry to hold the election and get the two-thirds majority. They were constantly thinking about the two-thirds majority. If the correct measures were followed from January, we wouldn't have to face such serious economic impacts. It is a shame that they incite racism even during a pandemic. It is extremely shameful. It's a low form of politics. I would like to say that we will establish a true Sri Lanka that will protect all religions, following the teachings of pure Buddhism.
Meanwhile, another rally of Samagi Jana Balawegya was held yesterday in Wattala.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has decided to introduce new credit schemes under the Section 83 of the Monetary Law Act No. 58 of 1949. In the statement, the central bank said the growth of the Sri Lankan economy has fallen to dismal levels over the past few years, and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic may result in severe stress on economic and financial system stability in the period ahead unless immediate remedial action are taken.
Accordingly, in addition to the already disbursed 27.5 billion rupees under the refinance scheme introduced on the 27th of March 2020, the central bank has decided to provide funding to licensed commercial banks at the concessional rate of 1% against the pledge of a broad spectrum of collateral on the condition that SLBs in turn will on-lend to domestic businesses at 4% while ensuring the greatest possible distribution of this facility. This scheme, along with the existing refinance scheme, will provide 150 billion rupees in total to the businesses affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, the construction sector enterprises will be provided with a facility to borrow from LCBs using guarantees issued by the government equivalent to the amount due on account of contracts carried out in the past under a new dedicated credit scheme funded by the central bank and made available at the aforementioned concessionary rates. The central bank reached into these decisions following a meeting with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Attending the meeting, the head of state has said that the central bank has disregarded the proposals made by him to revive the economy of this country.
In one of your headline-making stories, two senior central bank officials have provided a statement before the Criminal Investigations Department. The statements were provided on the ongoing investigations into financial crime at Edirisinghe Trust Investment Private Limited.
Police media spokesperson SP Jaliya Senaratne said the two CBSL officials have provided their statement last evening at the CID. Meanwhile, the Colombo Magistrate Court issued warrants to arrest 4 directors of the ETI and produce them before court. A case filed by 3 investors of the ETI was taken up before the Colombo Additional Magistrate Priyantali Enege yesterday. During the hearing, court ordered the arrest of 4 main suspects of the case, who are also the directors of ETI, as they did not appear before the courts. The case is due to be taken up again on the 8th of October.
53 Sri Lankans were repatriated to the island from Tamil Nadu in India. They arrived in the island in a special plane attached to Sri Lankan Airlines.
The officials attached to the Bandaranaike International Airport said among the 55 people arrived in the country, 2 are children. Upon arrival, they were subject to PCR tests at the airport. The BIA officials further noted the passengers are currently housed at nearby hotels until the results are released.
The remains of the late Reverend Father Ernest Porotota is currently lies at the Archbishop House in Colombo. The late Reverend Father Porotota, who rendered a yeoman service to Sri Lanka's cinema industry, was called to eternal rest yesterday while receiving treatment at a private hospital in Colombo.
Reverend Father Ernest Porotota was born on the 31st of August in 1931 in Maravilla. He was 88 years old at the time of his demise. He served as the chief celebrant of the Dehiyagata, Kalaniya, Kalutara, Kotte, Wattala, Dehiwala, Kadwatha and Kirimatiyagara after being ordained as a priest on the 2nd of February in 1957. The late Reverend Father Porotota held the position of the director at International Catholic Organization for Cinema and Audiovisuals from 1972 to 1982 and rendered a memorable service to the Sri Lanka cinema industry, was also called the Rebel of the Catholic cinema in Sri Lanka. The late Reverend Father was also a pioneer in localizing Christian customs. The funeral service of the late Reverend Father Ernest Porotota will take place tomorrow at the Philip Neris Church in Katukurunda.
In a COVID update for this afternoon, the total COVID-19 cases in the island has increased to 1,915 after 10 more cases were identified yesterday.
The Government Information Department noted 4 people who had arrived from Iran and 6 sailors from Sri Lanka Navy were identified as COVID-19 positive patients yesterday. The Ministry of Health said another 29 cases who were contracted with the virus left hospitals after recovering. This brings the total number of recoveries to 1,371.
It has been 8 days since the disappearance of the 2 children in Kalaniya. The police stated operations are currently underway in search of the missing children.
A group from 2 families who were living in rented houses took refuge near the Kalaniya bus halt since their economic situation did not allow them to pay rent anymore after the pandemic. The 2 missing children are 11-year-old Tarusha Madhushan and the 10-year-old Kavisha Madhushan. The 2 children disappeared on the 12th of this month after leaving the area to play. According to the parents, it was reported that they have boarded a bus with 2 other people from the same area.
මටවත් කතා කරගන්න බෑ වේදනාව වැඩි ඕනම කෙනෙක් දකින්න නෝනාවරුනි මාත්තුරුනි අම්මේ තාත්තේ ඒ හැම දෙනාගේම මං ඉල්ලා සිටින්නේ බැඳලා ඔබතුමාලට බැඳලා කියන්න අම්මා මගේ දරුවත් මේ අම්මාගේ තරිඳු කියන දරුවත් ලබා දෙන්න කියලා දැක්ක තැන.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of the story, simply log on to our website, www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Martin Satyanesan. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon.